What's up, y'all? This is John and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. As always, you can find us on Fans First Sports Network, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. But Thursdays, we are back live on Millions. So check us out. You can find us there. Tonight, we're breaking down the best games of Week 12. It is already Week 12. Not sure how time works. I'm convinced it's not real. But there's 14 weeks of the regular season now. Also, time's not real. But how you been? What are you drinking?
I am just doing some water just because of the kind of day that it's been today. But I've been pretty good, staying busy, very much looking forward to this weekend of college football and trying very hard to make sure that I actually get to watch it and don't have other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, what about you? How you doing?
Good, man. Just today was a real busy day at work. If you know where I live on Wilmington Island in Savannah, and you know where Rocky Ford is, I'm pretty sure I was closer to your house at some point today than my house.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
and drove all the way back. I did get to play in tonight's doubles round for disc golf,
Nice.
and came in second. So
Okay, there we go.
so pretty happy about that. But I will say, man, and this happened minutes before we came on the podcast. The University of Georgia posted a video of, and I'm sure all of y'all have seen it by now. It's the old pickup truck pulling up to the stadium, going to the mechanical room, flipping on the red lights, going back to the truck. That is one of my favorite bands of all time, being Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. And nothing can bring me down at this moment. You know, like, especially because Bob Seger has absolutely nothing to do with Georgia. I think since I've been born, he's played like 3 concerts within the state. He's from Michigan, from Detroit. It doesn't make any logistical sense, except for it's a
Who
great.
cares about logistical sense, though?
I mean,
Like,
in
is that
today's
really what we're here for?
conferences, you are correct. Um, but this is one of those hills that I will die on probably by myself. One of the best rock and roll songs of all time is Bob Seger's "Turn the Page." The original. Don't give me the Metallica cover. I'm talking Bob Seger, "Turn the Page," with the insane saxophone. If you don't know, look it up. Stop right now. Pause this. Go look up
Go
the
listen
song
now.
and come back
Come
because
back and
it is.
apologize.
Um, but no, I'm also super excited for this weekend because I don't think my sister listens to the podcast, at least with my nephew in the car. Lacey, if you are listening to this with Waylon in the car, skip ahead a few seconds. But I'm going to my nephew's football game on Saturday before the Georgia game. It is the first game that we have been able to go to, and it's his first playoff game.
Ooh.
So pretty excited about that. And then obviously the Georgia game in the afternoon, getting a tailgate with Candler and Perry and Will and all the boys. So should be a great day.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will be. That sounds like a great time.
Um, let's get into some games here. And first one we're going with Oklahoma at Alabama. Bama 6.5 point favorite. I actually believe that dropped to 6. Over under
Wouldn't
40.
surprise me.
Oh yeah, and I started to correct these and then got sidetracked and then ran out of time. So we're going with the lines that I had yesterday. Bama 6.5 point favorite, over under 45.5. And at first glance for this game, I thought there was no chance Oklahoma was going to win. I just, if you listen to the interview I did with Tyler from Ton of Longhorns yesterday, also side note, if you're listening to this on YouTube and you're like, I didn't get to hear that interview. I posted the wrong
Whoops.
video. Right one is up there now. Go check it out. But I said that Bama may be underrated at number 4. And I truly believe that because outside of that Florida State game, I don't think there's a week that's really gone by that you could say they have not been one of, if not the best team in the country.
Yeah,
And
I would agree with that.
so I started looking into Oklahoma's defensive numbers. And it made me pause a little bit, take a half step back. Because Oklahoma's eighth in scoring defense, fourth in rushing defense, 23rd in passing defense, fourth in sacks, first in tackles for loss. So all insanely good numbers.
Yeah, pretty good defense, some might say.
And so then I started digging into Alabama's offensive numbers, and it's good pretty much everywhere except for they're 120th in rushing offense, which wow.
No, yeah, that considering the success that they have had offensively in general this season, I when I saw that, that completely shocked me. Like I
And
knew they weren't great. I didn't think they'd be top 50 by any means, but 120.
what's crazy about it is this is one of the first times in a few years you've been able to say this. Alabama's problem is absolutely not the offensive line
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't allowed a ton of sacks, they haven't allowed a ton of tackles for loss. Their running backs just aren't great.
Yeah.
And the trader Justice Haynes left, went to Michigan. He is 65% of their offense on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that this game comes down to the health of the Oklahoma front and their ability to pressure Ty Simpson without bringing in extra rushers. And I think that's a big part of it because if they can get pressure on him without bringing anybody else, they can leave guys in coverage. Something that Georgia has not been able to do on Alabama in quite a few years is get pressure on the quarterback without bringing extra guys because Alabama has good enough running backs and tight ends to stay in the box and cut and protect Ty Simpson. Normally, if they're protecting with 8, you're rushing with 6. That means they have open wide receivers out there somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and that never goes well. But the concern for Oklahoma, they have 2 of their top 3 sack leaders questionable for this game. R. Mason Thomas and I'm gonna pronounce this name wrong because I didn't write it down. Jaquindon Jackson,
Sounds
some
about right.
something close to that. I apologize. I didn't write it down. I should have. Um, and the problem with Oklahoma doing anything in this game is that no one has really been able to effectively get pressure on Ty Simpson this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the team that did was LSU. And you know what Ty Simpson proceeded to do in that game last week?
A lot of good things from what I
A,
remember.
a lot. 60% completion percentage, 277 yards, 1 touchdown. And that's not the most impressive game in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do that every week in college football with a decent defense, you're probably going to win. And I think the only path Oklahoma has to winning this game is absolutely dominating the line of scrimmage and time of possession. But Alabama is allowing less than 3 sacks per game, and they're second in the conference in time of possession. I just, I, to me, Bama wins a rock fight of 20-13,
That would technically cover the spread just by the hook.
and hits demolishes the under, which is disgusting. But
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, to me, if that line is going down, that's crazy because I see touchdown at a minimum
right,
in this game. Like to me, this feels like one of those games where people get their hopes up that Alabama finally has a chance to lose, and then Alabama ends up winning by 3 touchdowns.
we
So
said the exact same thing for this game last year.
that's true. So maybe, but
Would be nice.
yeah, but right now the vibes are telling me Bama by 20, and I don't love it, and I'm not celebrating it. I'm obviously rooting for Oklahoma to win this game because that means better things for Georgia in all likelihood. If Alabama loses even more. I don't think this Oklahoma team is good enough to hang with Alabama right now. You can talk about they've got a great rush defense. They got a great defense in general. You can talk about how Alabama can't run the ball. Just tells me Oklahoma can stop something Alabama can't do anyway. I don't think that's actually going to matter in this game. I think Alabama's going to hit on some big plays early and win it running away after that.
Yeah, and actually we're about to get into almost the polar opposite game.
Yes.
And that's Mississippi State at Mizzou. We got Mizzou 7.5 point home favorite, over under 51.5. And this is another one where I'm torn from my first thoughts and then digging into it. I have entirely different trains of thought. I initially thought that Mississippi State had a great chance to win another SEC game outside of Starkville because if you don't know, Mississippi State has not won an SEC game at home since the week before Georgia and Stetson Bennett beat Mike Leach in 2022.
Mm.
So last home win of an SEC game. Um, and then after digging into it, I feel terrible for Mississippi State and Sarthik, the guest we had a couple weeks ago from Mississippi State, because for whatever reason I have a soft spot for this team. I do. I don't understand it. They're like a slightly worse Texas A&M with pretty much everything, and for some reason I just have a soft spot for these boys. And the reason I say I feel bad for them, Mississippi State's allowing 202.67 yards per game against SEC opponents. It's also known as absolutely awful.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And Missouri is averaging 183.2 yards per game on offense, rushing the ball against conference opponents. And and that by itself told me, all right, Mizzou's going to win this game, at least straight up, right? And then I dug into the Mississippi State offense against the Missouri side, like Missouri defense side of it. And I once again tried to talk myself into it. I looked in every different angle I could find to talk myself into Mississippi State winning this game. But Mississippi State's 129th in sacks allowed and 131st in sacks allowed in conference games.
Oof.
Right. They allowed the University of Georgia to get 3 sacks on them.
Yeah, and we know what Georgia's doing.
And then Mizzou is using multiple guys that Georgia couldn't find a use for on the field, and I am absolutely talking trash about the coaches right now. To to be 21st in the country in sacks and 18th in the country in sacks in conference games. Using guys like Damon Wilson and Darius Smith, mind you,
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure those were back-to-back breakout players for me
Yeah.
in different seasons. So I think Mizzou, due to the matchups in this game, due to having an offensive-minded head coach and a great offensive coordinator, I think they understand the assignment in this game, and they go full Army Navy. Like there's a total of 4 passes thrown for Mizzou in this game, and they just have like 38 minutes time of possession between their two running backs and Ahmad Hardy. And once again, I should have written this guy's name down. It's on me. Cannot remember it. But there are other running backs just as good as Ahmad Hardy, just a different style. And man, I think they throw like 4 passes and win and cover. Truly, this is going to be one of those where Mississippi State has to pass to win. And we saw what Camario Taylor did in those moments last week, which is miss by 5 yards his screen passes.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not trying to hate on the kid. He is a true freshman playing in a wild situation there.
It's
Um,
obviously a great athlete.
right. But, man, like this is a spot where Mizzou this is where they put their foot down. Like this is a drink, plant the flag. We are a top 5 team in the SEC year in and year out. I've brought this team to that point, and if you don't like it, beat us, and I bet you can't do it. I think that's that kind of game for Mizzou.
All right. Well, Mike has said that Mississippi State covers. I'm assuming he means that Missouri still wins and Mississippi State just covers the 7.5. To me, and this is another pick that I might just be doing to be different from everybody else. But to me, the difference between these two teams is their health when I look at them and their explosiveness. We saw last week just how crippled this Missouri offense is right now. And I mean, of course they are. They're on their third quarterback. They're struggling. And if Mississippi, if, again, I understand it's a big if with this defense that Missouri is bringing, but if Mississippi State can hit some explosive plays and get ahead early, I think it'll be really hard for Missouri to fight back. So again, I'm not really in a position where I need to be making wild upset picks at this point, but I do genuinely think there's a path for Mississippi State to win this game, so I'm going to take them.
Do you have any clue, like off the top of your head, where we are with our total, like straight up picks?
Yeah, so you are 2 games ahead of me, and then Mike is 4 games behind me, 6 games behind you.
Okay. All right. So we're still relatively close.
Yeah, yeah, still technically anybody's game, but the more we agree, the less likely it gets for anybody to catch up.
Yeah.
One of the
I
reasons I'm taking Mississippi State in this game.
I think if we are relatively close going into, I guess it would be rivalry week. I think if we're relatively close going into rivalry week, we should just pick every game, at least in the SEC, potentially the top 25, to
Yeah,
either
go for it.
shake everything up or create separation.
Yeah, we could add to that too by doing a snake draft where if one person picks the team, well, I guess there's 3 of us, so that wouldn't really work.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely figure it out. We can make it interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
All right. While we're talking about interesting things, not this game. Florida at Ole Miss,
Yeah, no.
and just Ole Miss 15.5 point home favorite, over under 53.5. And I have two bullets for this game. The third bullet is Mike's. The first one is Florida has quit, and I
Yeah.
just looked it up. Florida has, and I'm going to name the players that I know on Florida's team that are not going to play in this game because it's significant. Like if a guy that has watched a total of three Florida games this year and is a Georgia fan knows multiple names on Florida's team that have just for no reason, no injury, are just listed as out, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Eugene Wilson, also known as Trey Wilson.
Oh, that is arguably the big one.
Uh-huh. And then we have Dallas Wilson,
Yep.
Wilson the
Oh, that's
younger.
big too.
If you listen to our Florida interview from earlier in the year, Wilson the younger. And then you have linebacker Ty Jackson, edge rusher L.J. McCray, running back Jacoby Jackson,
It's a name I knew. All right.
cornerback Dijon Johnson. And there were four names that I didn't name off because I didn't recognize them from the out list.
Oh man.
And then you move to doubtful, and you have defensive lineman Kaleb Banks.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm. And I know I recognize a singular name on Ole Miss's entire injury report, which is four names, and it's Antonio Kite, cornerback. He's listed as questionable.
Oh no, they're missing a cornerback while Florida's missing half the receiver room. Oh wow.
Uh,
Whatever will they do?
oh well, Florida's missing half their receiver room and four defensive backs. I just didn't recognize the other defensive
Yeah.
backs' names. So truly, I mean this when I say, when we get out of here, if Ole Miss is still only 15.5 point favorites, I may put a stupid amount of money on
John,
them to cover.
spoiler alert for best bets. I got them at 14.5 today. Not even an alt line. That's just the line I was given by the site. 14.5.
All right. I am actually looking that up right now
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't understand. Like
Yeah,
it,
the site started with the word fan, so we'll see if whatever site you usually use
I just
has that now. But
that's
wild.
insane. And look, guys, I understand that we are a Georgia podcast and we don't like Florida. But at the same time, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I like my money a lot more than I dislike Florida.
That's yep.
And if I say that 15 and a half is absolutely a give me, and I will actually put more than my normal bet on Ole Miss to cover this, because we didn't even cover the angle of Florida beating Ole Miss last year, not only
Yep.
kept Billy his job, but also kept Ole Miss out of the playoffs with their most talented team probably in school history. Like last year's Ole Miss team, I, I you cannot make an argument that I
Mhm.
will really pay attention to that the 2024 Ole Miss roster is less talented than the 2025 roster.
Mhm.
Like I think 2024, I've said it before, 2024 Ole Miss was the SEC's version of 2024 Ohio State. They just threw money at whatever talented player they could and got them in.
Mhm.
And they losing to Florida by throwing multiple interceptions in the fourth quarter is the reason that Lane Kiffin is even rumored to be going to any of these other jobs that I don't think he's going to. But
Mhm.
this game potentially defined Lane Kiffin's career.
Yep.
So you're insane to think that he's got a Florida team that's quit coming into Oxford, where all these teams are talking about how he's going to go somewhere else. Like this is one of those drop yo nuts games for Ole Miss. Like
Mhm.
I think the Ole Miss third string offense may have more points than Florida's offense in this game,
Yeah.
legitimately.
Yeah. And I'll say I did try to play devil's advocate for a little bit. I had some notes about how Florida had a path to victory because they've been pretty good at containing mobile quarterbacks this season, yada yada yada. None of that matters. They've completely quit. Georgia broke any will they had to win any game this year. Just watch what they did against Kentucky last week. Kentucky. Again, no disrespect to what y'all are doing over there in Lexington, but
But
Kentucky
also a
had
little disrespect because you've earned it. Like
yeah. There's no reason that Kentucky roster should have done what they did to that Florida roster unless it's just Florida quit. And they did. And they're
and
going to keep
Cutter Boley has had a phenomenal second half of the season.
yeah, yeah.
Like he by himself has breathed a little bit of life into that program. It's not much.
Yeah, they still lose by 2 touchdowns to a Florida team that remotely cares.
Yeah. All right. I do want to
But
say the site that I use to bet, I'm able to get Ole Miss minus 13 and a half.
oh my God, man.
I'm legitimately putting 3 units on it.
Yeah, I might have to talk to my wife about waiting to book a travel hotel for our December plans until after I put the money we were going to spend on that on this game.
Yeah, y'all can be able
Because
to
we can
afford a
book the
week in Paris if you're putting enough money
yeah,
on the game.
exactly.
I just I legitimately just put money on it. I don't understand that in any way,
Yeah,
shape, or
that's why. Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a problem, folks. But,
form. Please
if you
do.
don't have a problem, free money.
Right. Like none of us have bet enough to have our wives mad at us or miss bills
Yeah.
or our kids eat only ramen for a week. We're small potatoes because,
Yeah.
wives and families come before
Yep.
being a degenerate.
A good way to put it.
Mike didn't. Oh no, Mike did put a note in for this one, and it is 4 words.
Hmm.
One of those is a number. He said Ole Miss by 69,
Nice. Yep. True, though.
and like Ole Miss did only beat the Citadel last week by 49, but the difference is Lane Kiffin doesn't hate the Citadel.
Yeah.
He doesn't
The
have,
Citadel didn't cause Lane Kiffin very likely a deep playoff run in 2024.
yeah. Um, Man, that's an insane line for a team that's just quit.
Yeah.
They gave up almost 40 points to Kentucky last week
Yeah.
during basketball season. So it's not
Right.
even like the fans were there and excited.
Yeah, no. They had completely moved on.
That's all right. Um, yeah, if y'all want to listen to this and actually bet, like go check your friendly neighborhood sports book and see what the Ole Miss Florida line is because that's insane.
Yeah, I don't care what the number is. It's too low.
Like, yeah, 13. Wow. All right. I got to get on
Imagine
that.
imagine having a chance to lose to Florida. But you want to talk about a team that did lose to Florida?
Yeah, and so a great segue there because we're talking about Texas coming into Athens, a team that lost to Florida and a team that did not.
Yeah.
We do have Georgia 6.5 point favorite over in 48.5. And so we talked about a lot of stats in the interview with Tyler from Ton of Longhorns. Um, great guest. I am trying to see if Bevo's coming to the game, if he can kind of organize for me to get a picture with Bevo because, you know, I I mean I'll probably get banned from Austin's campus because I'll give Bevo a horns down with the picture or give him the bird for trying to kill our boy, but it
Right.
just is what it is, you know? Um, we heard all the stats. The Texas defense is phenomenal at stopping the run, at getting to the quarterback, at getting tackles for loss.
Are they? I'll stay tuned. Anyway,
Okay,
little teaser.
I'm
Anyway,
here for it. But at the same time, Georgia's offensive line has gotten better each and every week. This is the healthiest they've been. Last week, the closest thing to an injury they had is a cut on Drew Bobo's hand,
mhm,
in which they were already up 3 scores, and Kirby said take him out of the game.
yeah.
Uh, and at the same time, Texas has given up a ton of yards after the catch, which, you know,
That's Georgia's offense, by the way.
right. I was trying to get to it. Uh, that's most of what Georgia's offense has been this year is mostly 10 to 15 yard uh, attempts, like
Mhm.
catches that go for significantly more. And I'll be honest, I like Georgia's running backs more. Sorry about that, y'all. I like Georgia's running backs more than I like any other running back that Texas has played this year. They haven't played, and I know I just talked a little bit of trash about him, but Jam Miller as an individual running back is phenomenal. Like Missouri's running backs are phenomenal. If you take individuals from a couple of rooms that Texas has played this year, they're very good, but they don't have three guys that can go for 40 yards on any given play,
Mhm.
which, with Georgia, you obviously have Nate Frazier who showed it last week. You have Chauncey Bowens who showed it for most of the season. But a lot of people forget about Gunnar Stockton's legs because
Yeah.
he hasn't needed them for a good part of the second half of the season.
Yeah. And also too, like Dwight Phillips, people are forgetting about him because he hasn't done it lately. But at the beginning of the season, he was popping off too. He
Yeah,
uh
no,
he
if
he might be
you
due.
if you guys have watched a football game near me, if number 20 gets a carry, I just yell from across whatever room or area I'm in, Peanut,
Yeah.
because one of my favorite players on the team. I'm weird. I pick stuff and just run with it.
We are big peanut respecters on this podcast for sure.
Absolutely. But no, I mean, there's something about this Georgia team that just continues to find ways to win if you don't have an A with a dingleberry on it. And I truly believe this when I say it because Kirby lives inside of Steve Sarkisian's head. And
Hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily believe that if the second game last year didn't happen.
Right.
Because Texas, I'm pretty sure if I have picked against Georgia at all during the existence of this podcast, it was the first game against Texas last year.
You didn't, but you wanted to. I remember.
Okay, yeah, because every statistic, every fact, everything said Texas was a better team
Hmm.
coming in that game. Shocker, they were.
Yeah.
Objectively, Texas was the better team. Before that game, in the second half of that game, and after that game, Texas was the better team. But Georgia went in, committed 3+ turnovers
Hey,
in
Carson
Austin.
Beck, how you doing?
In Austin, 3+ turnovers, and had a incomplete pass ruled as an interception due to water bottles on the field.
Technically, it was a pass interference overturned, but yes.
Okay. Yep. And and Georgia still won that game. And then we
Yeah.
go to the second game. And Georgia's down going into halftime. Georgia could not have stopped Matthew Golden if they put handcuffs on his wrists and shackled his feet together and put him in the Fulton County Jail. He was still catching passes for 20 yards in the first half of that game.
Yeah.
And then Carson Beck blows out his UCL and needs Tommy John
Hmm.
surgery at the end of the first half.
That was an argument to be made that caused an improvement for
I,
Georgia, but still.
Arguable, yeah. But you still have to put your backup quarterback in the game, and
Hmm.
he still throws the worst interception that
Yeah.
he will throw of his entire football career, Pop Warner to wherever he retires.
Yeah, that was a bad throw.
And Georgia finds a way to win that game. So I I think Georgia wins here. I think they cover here because I think they win by a touchdown. There is something about Kirby and this Georgia team that it doesn't matter how much better Texas is.
Dalen Everett is still going to come hunt.
It, man, and we'll get to that in a minute because I got a couple of over unders I want to ask you about this game.
Okay. Yeah, Mike agrees that Georgia covers, even though he says, I know I shouldn't. No, you should, Mike. You
You should.
absolutely should. 100%. And I'm very confident about Georgia covering in this game. And here's why I'm extremely confident. Uh, because when you look at the matchup between the Georgia offense and the Texas defense, like you mentioned, this Texas front seven is very good at stopping the run against teams that don't really focus on running the ball. Their opponents have, on average, the 78th ranked yards per attempt on the ground in college football. Vanderbilt ranks 7th, but they only had 10 attempts from the running backs against Texas.
Wild.
Yeah. The next best rushing offense they faced was San Jose State.
Is that real?
That is real. That is
Oh,
100% real.
oh, righty.
Yeah. Their secondary has been pretty gettable all year. They're 84th in pass defense, which, despite us saying Georgia's secondary is gettable, that's still 28 spots lower than Georgia's. Granted, apparently San Jose State has the #1 passing offense in the country by yards per game, which I thought was interesting. But you look at
Numbers
the
aren't
way,
real.
yeah,
I'm
no,
convinced numbers are not real.
math isn't real. But you look at the way the Georgia defense and the Texas defense have handled their common opponents so far, Mississippi State in particular, because that game's relatively close for both teams. And I think you can see that Mike Bobo is going to be able to do some things that get this secondary out of position, the Texas secondary. I heard someone today say that this Gunner Stockton and this offense are due for a bad game at some point. That already happened. That was the Florida game. It's over. It's November. We know what Georgia does in November. I feel like this Georgia offense can definitely get 30 points on the board against this Texas defense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay. So other side of the ball then. Can Texas get above 30? Because they're probably going to have to. Here's what gives me confidence that this defense is going to keep them in check. And I want to start with a college football cliche that I believe, and I know that Kirby Smart believes. Other than win the turnover battle, what are the two things you can do to make sure that you win a football game?
Run the ball,
Mm-hmm.
possess the ball,
Stop the run.
stop the run. Okay.
Run the
All right.
ball, stop the run. Whoever can do that better, unless you're playing Alabama in 2025, will win the football game. The two teams, and there's only been two teams, despite what we say about this defense, that Georgia has let score more than 24 points this year. And I choose the number 24 just because Texas will definitely need to score more than that to win this game. Both of those two teams rank inside the top 50 in the nation in rushing yards per attempt. Ole Miss is 36th, Tennessee is 40th. Auburn, which is another game people allege we struggled in defensively, even though we only allowed 10 points. Auburn's ranked 52, so right on the border.
Yeah.
Kentucky, we allowed 14 points against, including a garbage time touchdown. They rank 79th. Florida, we gave up 20. They rank 96th. Alabama, we gave up 24. They rank 111th. Mississippi State, we gave up 21 off two garbage time touchdowns. They rank 117th. No one outside the top 50 in rushing yards per attempt has been able to score more than 24 points against Georgia, which again, Texas is going to have to do. Would you like to guess where Texas is ranked in this category? Rushing yards per attempt.
I'd say around 120.
Oh, they're better. I mean, they're at 89th. They're better than that, but
Oh, okay.
still well outside the top 50. Which means they're going to be in an uphill battle to put up 30 points. I'm not saying they can't. Again, there are some holes in this Georgia secondary they could take advantage of, but I think Arch Manning is going to have to live up to some of his preseason hype to do enough to win. Uh, dare I say Arch Manning is going to have to play like Gunnar Stockton has been playing to beat Georgia this weekend.
He may
And
need more than that.
yeah, maybe. But I bring that up specifically. I compare those two specifically because the dynamic between those two is really interesting to me. It exemplifies the difference between these two programs and where their teams are right now. Because on one side, you've got a quarterback who came in with all the pedigree, all the money, all the respect, and in fairness, he stayed where he was and waited his turn, and we respect him for that. But he was crowned God's gift to football just for having a last name. Meanwhile, on the other side, you've got a guy who had all the five-star credentials, the record-breaking resume in high school. He also showed up and waited his turn, and for some reason, because of that, sports media decided to run with the narrative that we're trotting another talentless walk-on out there to play quarterback.
Well, it would be because he doesn't have the last name. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have an NIL deal with a private jet company, and he drives just a regular old Ford pickup truck.
That's right. That's the reason. And in a surprise to nobody, sports media was wrong about every Georgia quarterback since 2021. Every single one of them. Just like they were wrong about Arch Manning. So yeah, I like Georgia to win this game in pretty similar fashion to the game in Austin last year. Give me Georgia about 30-20. I don't think Georgia's going to light everything up, but again, they'll get to 30. Texas won't. Seems pretty easy.
Yeah, man, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm crazy for saying that. I just don't.
And like, look, Arch Manning has played better the last few weeks. I'm not going to deny that. He's a lot of it has had to do with they've sort of gone away from the sort of deep over concepts. They still do some of that, but they're doing a lot more short game, a lot more letting the receivers get yards after catch. The deep overs are what's going to beat Georgia, and they don't really do that anymore because Arch Manning isn't hitting them accurately.
Yeah, I just it's kind of crazy. Texas gone away from, for the most part, of what worked well for them. I think part of it is Sark is also concerned to make a mistake.
Yeah,
Um, we're not afraid to make mistakes though, and we're talking about best bets because Caleb, is the barbershop open this week? I'm
Barbershop is
not sure
very
how you
much
did.
open.
All right.
I last week I won I won a couple of bets last week. I didn't do terrible. Probably won about 500. But, that's a good week for me, so that just tells you a lot. Um so here we go. Clemson I'm betting on Clemson +3 against Louisville. I actually think Clemson's going to beat Louisville. It's a Friday night game in the ACC. You know how those things
Those
go.
have been wild every week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't expect this one to be any different. Guys may be listening to this on Saturday and laughing at me right now, but I'm betting Clemson +3 against Louisville. South Carolina versus Texas A&M. We didn't really talk about this game, talking about teams that have given up. South Carolina.
And if
I
they
think this.
haven't, they should.
Yeah. I've got this game going over 48.5. The idea that neither of these teams is going to get to 30 seems insane. I think 38-17 is very doable, and that will definitely smash the over. So I like 48.5 here. Um, Wisconsin is playing against Indiana, and this is going to sound like a crazy bet because Wisconsin is not a good football team. They're catching 29.5 points when they play against Indiana. I don't remember where the game is at. I don't really care.
At Indiana.
It's at Indiana. Okay, well that doesn't help my case, but
Nobody goes into Bloomington and walks out unscathed.
right. But Wisconsin has not been good. They have not won a lot of football games. But and I didn't look this up beforehand. I'd be willing to bet the record against the spread has been pretty decent. They have played some teams closer than expected.
It's
Um,
fair.
they beat an okay. I mean, it's a Washington team last week that didn't have any business being ranked, but still a pretty okay Washington team that Wisconsin went in there and beat. Um, so I don't think they're going to win this game against Indiana by any stretch of the imagination, but 30 points, and I think they can do a little better than that. Um, another hate bet for my bandwagon team up next here. Virginia +4 against Duke. Why on God's green earth is Duke favored in this game? I get that Duke is playing at home, but 4 points, you think Duke could be a 1 point favorite on a neutral site against Virginia? No, I don't.
Virginia's quarterback may or may not be playing this game.
I mean, yeah, that helps, and I personally, I don't think Virginia is really that good. I think they've kind of lucked their way into this spot. Duke has been dog water for most of this year. They've had moments, but they've been dog water most of this year. You saw what they did against UConn. I told
Yep.
y'all that was one of my bets that I won last week.
Yep.
So I'm gonna keep betting against Duke if it's gonna keep winning me things.
Also,
And then
UConn's insanely good this year.
yeah, well, yeah, they're pretty good. But
Their
anyway,
quarterback has almost 30 touchdowns and no interceptions.
yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, that's
He
impressive.
has like 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Wow, get that guy to New York then. Jeez. All right. And then as mentioned earlier, Ole Miss -14.5. I saw that and had to. Like, how do you not?
So for my bets, kind of already talked about a couple of adjacent things. I will say I almost took the opposite side of the first four of your bets.
Really?
I, I did. So Louisville was -2.5 when I saw it. I could very easily see that being a 3-point win in Louisville is the important thing there. Uh, I really think Texas A&M is going to be able to do whatever they want, but South Carolina may not score a point, which is why I was thinking under. Um, Indiana's going to try and prove something after almost losing to Penn State. And then Duke, they're bad, but they're bad enough to win a lot of games against other bad teams, and Virginia without Chandler Morris is bad.
That's fair.
But none of those are on my best bets this week because I got Cincinnati -6 because they're playing in Cincinnati versus Arizona. Would you like to know what it did in Cincinnati this week?
What did it do in Cincinnati this
They got
week?
a few inches of snow where the students drew a giant penis on the field. in the snow.
Yeah, Bearcats by 50. That convinces me.
Yep. And we have a not great Arizona team against Cincinnati team that is absolutely designed, almost triple option, to run in bad weather. I don't. Cincinnati minus a touchdown, give it to me all day. UConn, we just talked about them a little bit, -7 versus Air Force. This Army team this season is terrible, just objectively awful. They beat Air Force. UConn has beat multiple Power 5 teams. They're playing this game at home.
Yeah, I
UConn,
almost took this one too.
yeah, UConn wins by at least a touchdown. Um, and then the third one is just principal bet. Tennessee is playing a home game against a team that is not a core 4 team. So what's going to happen?
They're
Tennessee's
going
going
to
to
try to
score a
score
ton of
60 on
points.
them.
Yep,
And this is Vanderbilt's farm team they're playing against.
that's true. New Mexico State coming to Knoxville. I got over 60 and a half. I just Tennessee
Tennessee might
always
do it
scores.
themselves. Yeah.
Right. Tennessee is just Josh Heupel staple is scoring around 60 points against any team. It's not a power conference team when they come play in
Yeah.
Knoxville.
And New Mexico
Um,
State will get some points too. So
for sure. I got Ole Miss minus 13 and a half. We both have it. So bet the Florida money line. That's just how this works. Um, and then the last game I have is actually did not come through on the computer screen all the way. I gotta pull this back
yeah, I
up.
was I was wondering what that was about.
So I got TCU at BYU over 51.
Yeah, I like that one a lot,
That's what I'm
which means
getting
it's
at
not going to
there.
hit.
Correct. But if I go 3-2 this week, I'm not mad. You know.
Yeah, fair.
Um, but yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Nothing Minor podcast. Come check us out YouTube live 8 o'clock on Sunday evening to get our takes from the weekend. See if I am alive after tailgating for most of the day on Saturday. We will absolutely have some fun stuff to talk about. But if you can't catch us there, find us on social media at nothing.finder.pod on Instagram, at finderpod on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your content. Just look us up and you will find us there. And most importantly, remember there's nothing finer in the land.
And a drunk, obnoxious horns down.